everyone and welcome to World of Isekai, and today I want to talk about what if Luffy ate Pika Pika no Mi instead of Hito no Mi model Nika. And this is the part second, and if you have not listened to the part 1 you should definitely check it out. And without further ado, let's start this video. And Luffy is currently sailing, or rather flying in the air, because his boat was broken by the hurricane. And when he tries to find a proper place to land, he sees a massive passenger ship that was getting attacked by a pirate ship. So he decided to land there and help out the passengers of the passenger ships, because he did not like killing and uh, hurting innocent people, simply to say. So he decided to act, and when he landed on the pirate ship, everyone was shocked because they did not even see him coming. And those pirates started asking him about his identity, and Luffy simply reminded them, or rather replied, sorry about my English. Anyway, he simply replied, "My name is Monkey D. Luffy, the soon to become Pirate King." And after that, he simply turned his leg yellow or bright, and then he suddenly disappeared, appearing next to several pirates. "Have you ever been kicked by the speed of light?" This was the last sentence they heard before a powerful kick struck them so hard that all of them flew out from the ship into the ocean, and they also exploded. Like the light particles exploded, causing almost all of them to be burned by that explosion. But thankfully they landed on the ocean, so they might survive. Who knows, we are not going about them anymore. So Luffy, after defeating them, decided to defeat the captain of this pirate ship, and he finds it really crazy that obese looking woman, who is not only fat but also really ugly, calling herself the most beautiful woman in the world. And suddenly he remembers a cute girl that he met a long time ago, was 100 times better than this. And but he was also a little bit afraid, because he hoped that this his the girl that he met previously would not turn out to be just like her. Anyway, with that in his mind, he suddenly uses a light speed kick and kicks Alvida to the sea once again. And now there are no more pirates in that pirate ship, and only except one, that is a little boy with a pink hair who was shivering in fear. And when Luffy saw him shivering so much in fear, he decided to ask him why he is such a coward but also a pirate. And then Kobe simply replied that he is not actually a pirate, but rather he was forced to become a pirate with them. In fact, his dream is to become a marine. So although he said that, Kobe began to feel fear because of his ambition. And at that moment, Luffy simply smacked his head and said, "If you don't even have the courage to believe in your dream, then you should simply just go back and live your previous life." And after he said that, Kobe shouted, "No, I'm not going back. Being an admiral and be joining a marine is my dream. I'm not going to back down. But I am so weak. Do you really think I can become a marine?" When he asked like that, Luffy was literally laughing. Like, he clutched out his stomach and laughed, continued to laugh, until he finally wiped out the tears from his eyes and said, "Boy, before I started training, I was even weaker than you. As long as you have ambition and dream, you can definitely get stronger. So there is a marine ship coming towards us. Do you want to join them? Although he asked that, he knew that this boy would not join them right now, because if he is affiliated with the pirates, then he would not be able to join them. Just when he was saying that, he suddenly felt someone nearby with his observation haki, and he immediately sensed this presence quite familiar to him. So he decided to check it out, and he eventually found that it was none other than Nami. Nami! Luffy screamed and rushed toward her. Who was Nami was still indulged in stealing the money from pirates, and when she was caught, she freaked out for a moment. Only after seeing it was none other than Luffy who shouted at her, she immediately dropped her treasure and rushed toward him, giving him a la- large hug. And as they hugged each other for quite a while, they eventually separate from each other embrace. And although they were quite not shy people, Luffy was not as immature as in the original, so he knew the distance between men and female. So he was quite embarrassed by this, but they eventually get over it and started talking about their adventures that they went through. But suddenly Luffy caught her and the treasures and Kobe, and disappeared from there, and landed on a small boat that was nearby, and saying, so we should leave as quickly as possible since marine ship is closing near. And after hearing that, Nami decided to take the navigation in her hand, and they set sail toward the Selch town. It is yes, it is a Selch town, and they, while they were sailing toward it, Nami and Luffy talked about their past, like after they separated from each other. Luffy had not a lot of adventures, but Nami had a lot, because even though she no longer had to get money the for the village, she still did not abandon her job. She still kept stealing from the pirates, and she gathered quite a lot of money. And this time her motivation was not to save the village, but instead to help Luffy buy a powerful ship and help in his future adventures, because she knew that Luffy was not a kind of person who would steal from ordinary people and civilians. So she had to find a way to save a lot of money. And after knowing that, Luffy almost burst into tears in her arms. And like that, they continued their journey to Sel's town, where they eventually decided to talk to Roronoa Joro, because Nami already knew about him, but Luffy did not. So when Luffy got news about a powerful swordsman in Sel's town, he decided to invite him. After all, it doesn't matter if he was a bounty hunter or not. At least Luffy does not have a bounty right now. And more importantly, if this man was good, he would do anything to invite him. And that's how Luffy decided to enter the marine base with Nami. After entering the marine base, they eventually find Joro, and they decided to invite him from there. He was still stuck to a pole where he was binded by some ropes, and Luffy could easily untie him, so he decided to invite Joro instead of letting him die here. But Joro was hell-bent on not joining pirates, and he believed that he would be able to survive this trial. But at this moment, Nami interjected, do you really believe that fool? He's a fool, arrogant fool who would not care about his promise. A person like him would not let you out, especially knowing how dangerous you are. He would probably let you starve until that day and eventually execute you. if that's what you want, then fine, you are free to reject us. But if you don't want to die here, then you are welcome to join. And Luffy is not a pirate like other. He will not. Even I used to hate pirates, but only after knowing him, I decided to become his navigator because I know he would not become a scum like other pirates. So, would you still reject us? After getting questioned by Nami, Zoro was confused for a moment because he had some belief that Nami was telling a truth, and he knew that bastard boy would not care about his life. So he thought for a moment and nodded his head. If you can get back my sword from the marine base, I would join you. And as soon as Luffy got his confirmation, Luffy instantly turned into light and disappeared and reappeared inside the marine base. Not actually inside, but rather on the rooftop. So where he find Morgan and other soldiers trying to erect Morgan's statue on top of the marine base. Seeing this, he frowned because this was not an act that Marines should be involved with. Marines are the caretaker of justice. He knows from his grandfather just how marine ranking works. Even vice admiral or even admiral won't get a chance to erect their own statue unless they do something that was rather unexpected for a marine. That is, they terrorize the people they were supposed to protect and became a tyrant. And this was exactly what Morgans was doing. And knowing just how much of a respectful man his grandfather was, and just how much pride he had in his justice, Luffy could not stand anymore. He simply raised his foot and turned it bright yellow and struck this statue in half. As soon as those soldiers saw him doing that, they immediately backed away, and Marine Morgan immediately shouted, shoot him, shoot that bastard." And when they get the permission to shoot, they immediately shot at him, but Luffy was simply using his light powers to turn himself into light, and those bullets easily passed through him. But because they were shooting from all around him, some of them were struck by the bullet and they were rendered useless for the upcoming battle. Of course, this was not going to be an even a fight for a Luffy, because he simply flied into the air and he simply shot Yasakani no Magatama, his most powerful move, and destroyed the upper rooftop of the marine base in an instant. Those light particles were not only fast and bright but also extremely destructive. After destroying the marine base top, he immediately landed next to the destroyed part of the base where Morgan was on the ground. He simply raised his foot and said, "A scum like you is not worth living." And after that, he simply sliced his leg down, which has turned into a hot plasma that sliced Morgan's neck, at least to half of it. And after killing Morgan, he immediately went to the Morgan's office and he found nothing. He went to other office as well. He did not find anything until he eventually found the three sword in a strange room that does not look like a marine soldier's room. And after thinking for a while, he felt like this was that Helmepoch guy, or rather that Helmepoch room. So after taking those swords, he returned back to where Zoro was, and Nami was a little better, but Zoro was simply staring at him with wide eyes as he could not believe someone could do such a powerful attack. And after Luffy Nami had already explained him the devil fruit, but he was still in disbelief. So Luffy had to re-explain his devil fruit powers, and finally they cut his ropes and they went to Rika's bar, where they eventually ate some food and they decided to sail once again. They still had not bought a proper ship, so they decided to go to a nearby town where Buggy was living, because while he was searching through different rooms, he found Morgan's room, where he found Buggy's portrait instead of Grand Line's map. So he decided to go to Buggy and snatch the Grand Line's map from him, and then set sail once again to find a ship. Because Nami had already collected a lot of money, they knew they would be able to afford a boat, a ship. And so after landing on Orange Town, they immediately found buggy pirates, and they immediately fought against buggy pirate as well. This time, though, it was not, Luffy did not break a single sweat against Buggy. In fact, one Buggy was not even able to land a single hit on Luffy because of his devil fruit powers. And after defeating Buggy and sending him out of that town, they set sail toward Syrup village of Gecko Island, and they meet Usopp. Everything happened the same way it should have been, and they eventually got their boat after defeating Kuro. And just like before, Luffy did not even break a sweat against Kuro. And after that, they finally decided to go and visit Kokoyashi village before setting out for the Grand Line. But while they were going, they found that they lack one person, which is a really important member for the ship, which is Seth. And they decided to go to Baratie and hire a ship. And after that, they eventually go to Baratie, where everything happens the same except the fight between Mihawk and Luffy. Because after Zoro was slashed by Luffy, Luffy panicked just like in the original, and he immediately attacked Mihawk with his light speed kick. But Mihawk was able to immediately counter it with his haki infused attack, and although it did not land quite well on Mihawk, Luffy was quite fast, so before even Mihawk could react, he immediately shot a powerful laser sword at him, which Mihawk easily blocked. But before Luffy could continue, this time Zoro shouted from afar, and finally everything happened like the way it should have been happened in the original. And they also get Sanji into their ship, and the ship finally set sail toward Kokoyashi village, where they meet Nami's sister. And after getting all those money for the ship, they decided to set sail towards the Grand Line. Their last stop would be Lockdown, where everything happens the same, except this time Luffy simply thrashes Smoker onto the ground with his haki infused fist. Remember, Luffy learned about haki way back, dozens of sorry, not dozens, I think 7 or 8 years ago, 10 years ago. I think it was 10 years ago, from Shanks. So he had trained his haki quite a lot, and he was easily able to not he did not kill Smoker because this was one of the good marine that he liked, but he did defeated Smoker with a single strike on his face, and he did not even need help from Dragon. And because of that, there was no such thing as tornado coming from the wind coming from the Dragon. I think it was from the dragon, because we still don't know whether it was natural or not, because it did not look natural at least. So after that, they set sail to the Grand Line. They eventually crossed the reverse mountain, and they also met uh, Crocus and Laboon. Nothing was different here, like literally nothing was different here. They eventually met Princess Bibi, and they got the task to send Princess Bibi to Alabasta, which was no different than the original. And this time there was one different thing, that was he did not let Igaram go on his own, because Luffy was pretty confident on his strength. He knew that even against someone like Mihawk, he would not lose that easily. So he did not care about Igaram plan, and so that man also hop on to their boat, and their ship finally set sail toward Alabasta before they meet Nico Robin, who simply just gave them the eternal lock pose to destroy at Luffy, or Luffy and his crew. And after crossing the eternal pose, they decided to go on their own adventure, and they eventually stumble on the little garden where they fought Mr. 3, and they partied with the giant. After that, they finally set sail toward Alabasta with the eternal pose that they got from Mr. 3, which was no different than the original. But there was one thing that changed. Luffy was able to predict every single thing around him with his observation Aki, remember? So before even that even mosquito could bite Nami, it was easily destroyed by Luffy's laser based attack. And because this forest was dangerous, he did not want his crew to be sick. Even so, they still visited Drum Island because of something that Wapol do, which enraged Luffy. Luffy had already decided to make Wapol go back to Drum Island, make him apologize to his people, and then throw him into the sea. That was his plan. So he followed that plan. He went to Drum Island. He decided to make Wapol apologize to the citizens of the Drum Island. Although he did apologize, he did it out of fear, and because of that, Luffy did not like it at all. So he decided to throw Wapol into the sea, and everything happened the same way it should have been, except this time Nami was not injured. So they had to get a doctor into their ship, so they decided to ask for a proper doctor. And since the best doctor in the Dram Island was on top of mountain, they decided to go there. And but the old lady would not go with them, so they decided to kidnap her pet, who also had the medical knowledge equivalent to her. So after kidnapping her pet, they set sail with him, and they finally go to the Alabasta. Now you might ask, what difference would it be? Like literally, what difference should it be? And the only difference that would be was Luffy directly taking his crew to fight against Alabasta, and proving all the lie, or rather revealing all the lies that Crocodile made. He was not planning on killing Crocodile. Instead, he was planning on making him reveal the truth. So he went to Crocodile, and they fought. Like Luffy fought against Crocodile, Zoro fought against Mr. One, and everything happened the way it should have been happened in the original. And this time, though, Crocodile was in no luck. Luffy not only knew all three kinds of haki, but also had Pika Pika No Mi, which was a pretty overpowered fruit, to be honest. So after easily defeating Crocodile, he torture. He did not torture Crocodile, but he did everything he could to make Crocodile reveal the truth. And considering how hard of a pirate Crocodile was, Crocodile did not reveal truth that easily. So basically someone had to reveal the truth, and this person was none other than Nico Robin, who was the person who let Vivi know the identity of Crocodile. So after revealing the truth about the incident, everything got into the media, and this time Marines could not hide it. And Robin was also able to find the poneglyph thanks to Luffy, who invited her to join his crew. And this time they went out into the sea with one extra member, and everything else was same except their bounty, which went way up than 100 million. It was around, I think it should be 200 million. And Joro, who had learned haki during his battle with Mr. One, also get the bounty of 100 million. Others had less bounty, but it was still amazing that a newborn pirate had such a powerful bounty. So after that, everything happened the way it should have been happened in the original. Like they went to Jaya, and they got the way to find Sky Island, and Luffy this time destroyed the entire uh, Gaia, Gaia or Jaya, I don't know, Gaia or Jaya Island with his light-based attack. And he did let Blackbeard escape though, and I forgot to mention that Ace did meet Luffy in Alabasta. So after knowing that this person was Blackbeard, he immediately decided to attack Blackbeard, and their fight destroyed Jaya. This time it was not like where Blackbeard was found out about Luffy too late. It was Blackbeard trying to come after Luffy as soon as he found out his bounty and learned that Luffy had come to Jaya Island. So after that they got into the battle where Luffy destroyed the entire island, and although he thought he had killed Blackbeard, Blackbeard managed to escape thanks to his partners, and letting him escape was quite unfortunate for Luffy, but he could not do anything since his crew was almost ready to go to Sky Island. So he did not wanted to miss the Sky Island, and he decided to immediately leave instead of searching for Blackbeard. After that they finally go to Sky Island, where everything happened the same except the battle between Priest and Straw Hat Pirate. Remember, they were aware of haki, observation haki and armament haki. So they were trying to learn these two things from the start of from this blue. So Joro, who had already comprehended armament haki during Alabasta arc, managed to learn observation haki in Sky Island, and Sanji also managed to learn both armament and observation haki in Sky Island as well. Others were still clueless about it, but they also did improve in their strength. And after defeating Enel, Luffy managed to push his observation haki to much higher level, which was future sight, that he had not been able to train for quite a while, since it required him to get into a position where he had to literally dodge the lightning based attack, the speed that was only comparable to his light based attack. So this helped him improved his observation haki to future sight. And finally they finished Sky Island arc, and they went to down to Water 7, where they had to replace Mary because of her condition. And this happened the way it should have been happening, but except this time Usopp did not try to complain against Luffy because he knew that he could not even touch Luffy, much less defeating him. That was a pipe dream, so he simply tried to beg to Luffy not to abandon the ship. But Luffy knew that it was impossible for her to sail, so they decided to abandon her. And Luffy decided to give it a last funeral before deciding to purchase another ship. And while this was happening, Robin got kidnapped by CP9 and Frankie also got kidnapped. As soon as they heard the news, they immediately decided to chase after Robin. And knowing that she literally sacrificed herself for them, so he was even more angered. So as soon as they reached Annie's lobby, he immediately reached the sky and crossed his arms. Thousands and thousands of the light particles appeared in the sky and they just destroyed the half of the Annie's lobby with a single attack. That was his most devastating attack that he had ever launched in his entire life, and it destroyed half of Annie's lobby. After that, he started to make Robin believe that they would be able to fight no matter who their opponent would be, and she should not just die for them. And after convincing Robin, as in the original, they finally decided to fight, and they were just about to fight when two people suddenly appeared. These two were the main reason why Robin was so afraid, and as soon as she saw them, she asked Luffy to leave, but Luffy was he was unfazed by these two people, even though he knew that these two were like dozen times stronger than this CP9. But he still did not care because his goal was to take back Robin, and he would do anything to take her back. And he instructed his team to take care of CP9 while he takes care of these two people. And these two were none other than CP0, and they were extremely powerful. Okay, but even though they were extremely powerful, Luffy was not just a kid with a little bit of power and high ambition. He was a kid with high ambition and a lot of power. So as soon as the battle started, those two CP0 agents started showing their Rokuseki technique, while Luffy was using his light-based attack to block them and attack them. He also used his future sight, which immediately made him superior to them, because both of them did not have future sight. They were trained in Rokusoki, armament haki, and observation haki, but it was not a future sight. So battle was slowly tilting toward Luffy. But at this moment, he noticed something. Their goal was not just to defeat these two. Their goal was also to take back Robin, and that bastard spam them was taking Robin to the bridge where he could easily take her to the marine ford, or where they would not be able to get her back that easily. So he immediately decided to fight them with all of his strength, which he had not done for quite a while. And after pushing his armament haki to its max and his light based attack to his maximum, he literally destroyed both of CP0 agents in a flash, like he should have been. And after destroying them, he immediately found Robin and spammed them. He spammed them on his head and made him almost unconscious with a single attack. After that, he hugged Robin and said that you are not allowed to live anymore. You are our partner. And Robin was a little flustered but also crying in joy. After that, they finally left the island, but before they could leave, Spamdem triggered the master call, and a lot of marine ship with vice admirals started closing in toward Annie's lobby, where while they were trying to escape, and Luffy decided to stay behind for them to escape, to which none of his member Stride crew agreed, but he still convinced them that he would be easily able to go back as long as they can escape from this attack Buster Call. So as soon as other left, Luffy decided to try something that he had never tried before, and that was to use his powers awakening. He had heard about awakening before, but he had never reached the level of awakening before, so he was quite curious what would happen if he awakens his attack. And at this moment, when he awakened his devil fruit, he instantly turned into a bright light that blinded almost everyone nearby him. And it was so bright that none of them could look at Luffy for a moment. For not just for a moment, they could not look at Luffy at all. And after that, he could turn everything around him into light particles as well. So he immediately turned the ship into light particles, and those marines started falling on the ground while he used his light based powers to simply escape out of this place. So you might be curious what happened to him encountering Aokiji like in original right? So the battle did not happen because Luffy was able to control the movement of his ship with his light based attack, light based power, and also with his observation haki. He was able to prevent them fighting against a powerful enemy such as Marine Admiral. He sensed Marine Admiral from quite far, like really quite far. So he did not go to that island at all, which is why they did not find Foxy and had a match against them at all. So they made it to the Water 7 quite early, and after that everything happened like I said. So with that guys, I think I should end this video right now because I want to make the second part not just about Sabaody Archipelago war arc, but also including everything until the Fishman Island. So see you guys in the next video.